Watershed District. The order, time is 6 on the official clock, 6:31. And let's start with a roll call.
President Henderson,
Aye.
Manager Baki,
Here.
Manager Schmaltz,
Here.
Manager Taves,
Here.
Manager Schottenheimer.
Here.
All right, we have a full house tonight, so that's good. Let's start the meeting. Setting up meeting agenda is the first item, and I know that there's a couple of, maybe one for sure, add to the agenda, so Mike, can you?
Madam President, managers, we just received well, it's a environmental assessment work group, EAW for the Tim's Marina. So there's a 30-day comment period. And that was opened, I think, on January 5th. So they have roughly a month, but so we did forward it to council and Mr. We can have a short discussion on that, what potential action or role the district would have on it.
Okay. Is there any objection to adding that to the agenda? Hearing none, it will be added. Anything else?
That could be under new business.
Under new business, yes. Item G. All right, hearing nothing else, is there a motion to approve the adjusted
I'll
agenda?
move the agenda as amended to include Tim's Marina.
Okay, is there a second?
Second,
I'll second. Oh, I'm sorry, is it Manager Taves?
Yeah.
Okay, Manager Taves then. Roll call?
President Anderson,
Yes.
Manager Baki,
Yes.
Manager Schmaltz,
Yes.
Manager Taves,
yes.
Manager Schottenheimer.
Yes.
All right, unanimous, thank you. Moving on to the new business area, then we'll start with A, election of officers and liaison appointments. Open discussion, what would you like to do? In the past, we've kept the agendas, or excuse me, the appointments, at least for a couple of years, the same. We have a new member here, obviously, so that's going to change it. We'll have a discussion on that. Where to put the new guy?
Yeah, my discussion is, don't overwhelm me. I'm still working on it.
Yeah,
Well,
and then I don't see the. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
I would request too that my position be fairly limited because I'm still working full-time and I don't have much control of that time at all.
Okay. Well, I've always said when we have a new person that, I think one of the positions that fit that criteria is the vice president. And, that is only called, that person is only called when the president is not available to run the meetings. So how does that sound to you?
It sounds like, I don't want you to miss a lot of meetings, but otherwise, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, if we make that change, then we can keep the agenda as is. Are you okay with the treasurer's position?
Sure, unless one of the other managers wants to try it. I mean, I've been treasurer a lot of times, so if they wanna
Yeah,
step up and do that, that's fine.
the only one that would be that is Manager Baki, Manager Taves.
I know, right?
Yeah, doesn't have the time for that, but Manager Baki, do you want to continue to be the secretary?
Yes, Madam President, I would prefer to be secretary.
Okay. So are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay,
fine.
all right, very good. So is there a motion then to keep the positions as is, adding our newest member, Jim Schottmuller, to the vice president position?
Fine with me.
Everybody okay?
Works for me.
All right,
Yes.
sounds, all right, we have consensus. So moved on that change, and then the liaison appointments.
Madam Chair?
Yes,
Could we just have a motion and second?
On.
And a vote on the officer.
Oh. Okay, consensus isn't appropriate for that. All right, I'll make the motion to keep the positions the same with the addition of our newest member as vice president.
Second,
Roll call?
President Anderson,
Aye.
Manager Baki,
Aye.
Manager Schmaltz,
Aye.
Manager Taves,
Aye.
Manager Schottenmiller.
aye.
All right, thank you. Approved unanimously. And thank you, Chuck. I understand why you asked us to do that because the banking issues and some others require a proof that was a motion, so
Sure.
thank you for that. And then the liaison appointments, do we have a list of those? Yeah, good. Any changes that anyone wants to see to that list?
Well,
Just-
Chris is gone, so.
Yeah.
You wanna be a kind of backup with me
Yep.
first, like, you're representing the city anyway.
Both of those look perfect.
Okay. So we'll put your name in place.
Although there's another one, Chisago City. Oh, no, that's Taves. Okay.
Right. So we'll put your name there in both cases and.
That works.
Does it work for everyone else as presented?
Yes, I mean,
Yes.
Okay, good.
No vote needed?
No, we're gonna need that.
Well, I'm just curious.
Just,
Okay.
just about to ask for the motion,
Uh,
changing your. Yeah, adding your name where we talk about.
Madam Chair, just
Yes,
for the information of the board, actually, your bylaws provide that the president names the liaison members on consultation with the managers, so you have unbridled power simply to declare the liaison.
wow. Wow, get that on record.
Right.
Okay.
She wants it on the bottom of her card, unbridled power.
mm,
Oh, my goodness. Okay, well,
Wyoming.
what do you want me to do? Me make the motion? I mean, is that what
No,
you're saying,
no
Chuck?
motion, you just can appoint,
I can just say.
say, yes,
All right.
that sounds great.
All right, well, I declare the list to be appropriate per advice of the manager.
Yes.
All right.
Like to be knighted.
Yes, thank you. That would be hard, though. All right, we can move on, Chuck, is that correct? It's handled properly?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Madam President,
Yes.
Managers, just so you know that each staff has assignment to all these organizations as well. Keep tabs of agendas and things like that, and we will communicate things as they come up. I'll have one item in the permanent thing that we'll probably cover later
Okay.
as such, but if you have any questions, you could always reach out to me and get coordinated with that person, but also if you want to get signed up for any automated receipt of agendas or anything as well, that's possible.
And I just want to point out also that, you know, I've heard about the open meeting law.
Oh, I know
Very
about that,
careful
yeah.
about, yeah, but in asking questions of other board members, like what we're talking about, responsibilities, no, you can talk to another manager.
Yeah.
Just don't get into a discussion. Pardon me?
Single,
Yes, a
Yes.
single one, yes. As long as you're not talking about something that we would vote on.
Okay.
But for information purposes, it's fine. Okay. I think we're done now, so let's move on with this issue. And that is the Community Advisory Committee appointments. Is Aiden here?
Yes, Madam President.
Okay, Aiden, do you want to introduce this?
Certainly. Good evening, Madam President, managers. In the memo attached, you'll see our background on the current CAC. We have 7 members currently listed there. And we are also recommending today that the Board of Managers appoint a new member, Bob Hervig. So our recommendation is to reappoint the current members and then appoint our new member. The application is attached for Mr. Hervig. I had the opportunity to meet him in December. He was there prior to our December CAC meeting. I have a very positive impression of him. Seemed very interested and dedicated. We had a lengthy conversation about his community service in the Scandia region. Then he also has a vested interest in Forest Lake. You can see in the application he's had a summer cabin since 1941 with his family there. So seems like Mr. Hervig would be a great addition to the committee, and I can certainly recommend him.
I agree with you. He came to one of our meetings as well. And I thought that was really good too, to get a view about how the board works. So, I have no issues with. Maybe I'll just make the motion. I move to appoint Tom Fury, Jerry Grutner, Randy Schumacher, Kurt Sparks, Ted Hansen, Mike Miron, Gary Cromlick, and Bob Hervig to serve as the district's community advisory committee for 2026. For a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call, please.
President Anderson,
Aye.
Manager Baki,
Aye.
Manager Schmaltz,
Aye.
Manager Taves,
Aye.
Manager Schottenmiller.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Next item is designation of official newspapers and banks. Administrator Kenny, would you introduce this?
Madam President, managers, per the governance manual, the board is to designate both banks and newspapers for the district. Historically, we have had two different banks associated with the district. And one is listed as the Financial Assurance Depository for Cash Escrow. It's related to our permitting program. And then also for the newspapers, both the Societal Press and Forest Lake Times, to recognize the two areas of the district that are served by those papers.
Okay,
So I'll make the motion to designate First Resource Bank and Midwest One Bank as the official financial depositories of the Comfort Lake, Forest Lake Watershed District for 2026.
is there a second?
I will second that.
Wait,
Okay. Manager Taves?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
President Anderson,
Aye.
Manager Baki,
Aye.
Manager Schmaltz,
aye.
Manager Taves,
Aye.
Manager Schottenmiller.
Aye.
Thank you. Passes unanimously. Moving on to number 5, project update.
We have one more motion there.
Oh, yeah, one more.
Oh, I'm sorry, Rule 9, revision resolution. You're right. Thank you. Who's gonna talk about that one?
What about the papers, newspapers?
Newspapers.
Oh, I skipped the voting part. Sorry. Yes.
I'll move to designate again the official newspapers of the Comfort Lake, Forest Lake Watershed District for 2026 as the Chisago County Press and the Forest Lake Times.
Seconded.
Roll call.
President Anderson,
Aye.
Manager Baki,
Aye.
Manager Schmaltz,
Aye.
Manager Taves,
Aye.
Manager Schottenmiller.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Next is the review bank signers, viewers and credit card holders.
And president managers, as you will recall, this is another item that we'll have to provide to the banks as to signers. And also just limiting the staff access in terms of just as viewers. Per the guidance from council and noted within our governance agreement.
Okay. Nothing changes there, correct?
I don't know if we made a change with.
We did, we added
Yeah.
myself and we removed.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
we
okay.
voted
Yeah, I
a few
thought,
weeks ago
yeah,
to add.
Yeah.
Okay.
when he was first on, so yeah, he's been a signer for
Okay.
a long time.
Very good.
Okay, so do we have a motion on this, or is it just an agreement? I don't see
Consensus.
consensus, okay. Any objection to keeping the list as is?
Nope.
Okay, as presented, very good, let's move on. Rule 9 revision resolution.
And President, next item is the Lower St. Croix Partnership Metro Combine. New business. Item 3E.
Mhm. Well, I'll make the motion, well, first of all, let me ask this, is there anyone that would like to attend this meeting? In my place? Okay, is there anyone that would like to attend it as a observer? Okay, then I'll make the motion to appoint Jackie Anderson to the designated representative for the Comfort Lake Forest Lake Watershed District at the 2025 Metro Convene meeting.
26, I apologize.
Oh, 26. Yeah, thank you. At 2026 Metro Convene meeting.
So that's just for that meeting, correct?
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, I know, I didn't realize, but looking at the list here, I guess it's open for discussion.
Yeah, of
Okay.
course.
It seems like most of the administrators are serving on that particular meeting. I'm wondering
Excuse,
if it wouldn't be more appropriate to, I know you go to the meetings and represent all that along with Emily, which is
Yeah.
fine, but I'm just wondering if Rivervale has an administrator there, and if it gets into any harsh discussions, you've got a lot of background on that, so I don't know, I'm just raising the question.
President Anderson has participated in these same meetings,
Okay,
over the years, so it would not be, I mean, they. Right, and, I do recognize that, but at the same time, I'm totally fine with it. I think President Anderson brings a lot of experience and question to bear on some of these and challenging the efficiency and some of the policy questions that come up, and so which are appropriate.
And that there are other administrator people, not a lot, a handful of us that are not the administrator. But you raise a good point. I think Mike probably addresses that when the administrator meetings come up. And so he has an opportunity to talk and interact with the administrators in that setting, so he's not totally, out of the loop or divorced from this topic. It's too important. But that's a good question. Any other concerns or issues?
Madam Chair, just minor item, I believe we still need a second on the motion.
Yes.
I'll second, yeah.
Thank you. All right, roll call.
President Anderson,
Aye.
Manager Baki,
Aye.
Manager Schmaltz,
hi,
Manager Case,
Aye.
Hello? Manager Taves?
Yes, aye. Sorry.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Manager Schottenmiller.
Aye.
All right, motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Next is item F, section 125 premium only plan.
Madam Chair, sorry to interrupt. Would you also like to discuss how, the voting of regarding pooling the funds versus not pooling the funds, how to vote during the convene meeting?
Yeah, we can back up and handle that. I had that under one of my questions down at the manager level, but this is fine. It's probably more appropriate here. The board has an opportunity to each entity that is part of this convene, which is always in the metro area. This is where the bulk of the money comes in for the Lower St. Croix. And that gets added to the portion that is coming from the rural areas of the Lower St. Croix boundaries. And the division is, I haven't actually done the percentages for a long time, but it's roughly about 75 to 80% from the metro and the balance from the rural areas. And so there wasn't a lot of money when this program got started. soil and water folks work primarily through grants that they receive, operational style grants or project specific type grants from the federal government and the state government. But something unusual happened last year, and the SWCDs received a tremendous amount of money from two areas. The agricultural grant funding was increased. And they also, I think it was from woodlands and forestry and that kind of thing, ecosystem stuff. And they ended up, I remember the right number that Craig, who is the administrator for the Chisago County SWCD, the number was over 100,000 per SWCD in the state. And so that's a lot of money for helping with whatever. So I just don't think that there's a lot of things that people in the metro have set aside as well by giving up those dollars. And so I think it's time. We've gone, I think, 3 biennium sessions with the legislature, giving that money to the Lower St. Croix as a whole. But it's up to our convene, our metro convene, to do what we decide as a group to do. So it's not automatic that it has to go to the one watershed, one watershed, one plant organization. So I'm kind of leaning toward keeping that money in the metro area this year.
So how is that actually accomplished? It would be, everybody would have to agree to that, correct?
It's a preponderance of the membership. It's not 100% has to vote for it, but
Of the
metro, just the metro,
right.
yeah.
Not all the whole thing.
No.
Just a majority,
Well, it's kind of super majority, really.
is it? Okay.
So then would then each group keep a share for themselves, or will we come
That's
up
one
with a
way.
group project?
That's
or-
one way to divide it, or you could have a system where projects are submitted to a review committee and then having the review committee use it, but that's open for discussion as well. There's no set way to handle it.
So how much money are we talking again?
Well, it's,
I can't
it's-
remember.
yeah, I think it's, do you have that in this?
Funding table.
I think it's almost 2 million. 1.8 or something, 1.
Oh, what, yeah, there is 1.3.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, yeah, that's the history of it too, so. The total for the group hasn't changed that much. I mean, 2,000.
So that would really reduce quite a bit,
49.
would reduce their thing by more than half,
Reduce what?
the total amount they have to spend.
For the group as a whole,
Right.
yeah. Once the money from the metro area is combined with the money from the rural areas, that's the total in that total column.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it would hurt, but once again, I mean, they've been getting the money in whole for a long time. And it's kind of makes sense to me that we have a point where maybe we give 50% to them or some percentage of it, but the metro area keeps it.
The other thing I recall, if I remember looking at the budgets at the commissioners meeting, that we noticed that the soil and water conservation departments are receiving a substantial more money from Bowser than they used to. Right? So
Yes,
briefly,
yeah, additional allocation that President
Yeah.
Anderson.
so I think that's something else we should mention is that
Mhm.
they're getting at both ends of they're
Yeah.
feeding out of both ends of the straw here.
Yeah, well,
So-
that sustainability money that they're getting, which is about $100,000 a year to every watershed, or excuse me, to every SWCD in the state. That's coming out of general funds for state and the state legislature.
Okay.
And they advocated for that for many years and they finally got
Got
it.
it, okay.
So the rest of their money though comes from outside.
So it's not really tapping into the project money that's been available normally. Right? That's what bothered me, is that the money would go to, you know, staff and not the projects, because that's intended to go to projects, not staff.
Well, they provide, and this is debatable, this, I could talk an hour and a half, at least 90 minutes on this topic, but every SWCD should be preparing an annual budget that includes whatever overhead they need and giving that to the counties. And if they're doing it, if the counties are working with them, then operational expenses should be covered by that county allocation. And then all of the other things that they do are driven by projects and some programs as well. But again, that's where all of their funding, the majority of it comes from the state and federal programs that federal always filters through the states for management. And so that would be coming out of Bowser for them. So I just think, given the fact that they've received so much money, especially last year, that they're sitting pretty well. And I think we could focus more on our projects that are needed in the urban areas for biennium, and then go back to this other method that we've been using, which gives all the money to the watershed one plant.
President Anderson?
Yes, Manager Baki, or Manager Taves, sorry, go ahead.
What are the criterion by which these monies are distributed?
You're talking about just the allocation for the metro? Is that what you're talking about? Okay.
Yeah, what does that go to, and how is that decision made?
Well, that decision is made by Bowser. They have a calculation that they use, and I think it's based on, a lot of it's based on the area, but also how much of the land is actually under ownership. It's not public, in other words, is that right? Yeah. But that should be, the calculation should be on the website. Bowser has a really good website, and so you can dig into a lot of issues by just going there and typing in, you know, what you want to find, and it pops up pretty readily. So that's one way to do it. Chuck or Mike, do you have intimate knowledge of how that calculation works, other than what I just said?
That's correct. It also, I think, if I recall, you subtract travel lands and
All person. Mhm.
and you're gonna probably put most of these private.
Did you have something to say?
No, I'm just saying, Doug, maybe you were asking the question too of, and we can't do much about that because it's statute rules or whatever it is, but once the money goes into the Lower St. Croix, then it's prioritized by a series of decisions for different types of projects.
Mhm.
So it's just not allocated to different organizations. It's done to the most promising projects supposedly, right, Mike? So along with a broad scan of a project,
Projects and programs.
everything, yeah.
One is the
CART, for one.
Well,
I think it's a CART.
effort that they're planning on for for regarding permitting, trying to help everybody get other entities to actually develop
Mhm.
that sort of permitting more. A lot of communities still don't have any permit requirements, so there's that, and obviously the education, there's the agronomist, there's the full-time educator, there's a half-time engineering technician, so they're all funded out of this.
Yeah. The other question they ask is, I think too, is how much other money are we getting that we used to get, you know, from them? Is that going to go down, or is that going up, or where does that stand? I think it's going down, isn't it? Because it's being spread out in other areas.
I can't really answer that factually, because I don't know that this is part of something else that we would get. or if it's a standalone. I think it's a standalone right now.
Okay,
And so I don't think it has any impact on other things. It's only what happens within the Lower St. Croix boundaries. And all the money's been going to the rural areas. And it's doing good work. I went on a tour last year and summer. And the projects are really good. But I couldn't help but pick up this sort of nonchalance attitude with a couple of the farm projects, is that, as long as you're gonna give me money, yeah, I'll do it, that kind of response. One farmer seemed to be really engaged in the farm and the natural areas and what needed to be done to have better drainage and make sure that pollution isn't making its way into the river system closest to them. But the rest of it was, whether it happened or didn't happen, didn't seem to be that important. And there's a lot of important things that are happening in urban areas that need addressing. And I just don't think it's fair to send that kind of money out into the rural areas when there's not total buy-in. If it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, that's okay too. So anyway, that was stark to me, and I felt it was time to maybe spread that out a little differently, not giving 100%, maybe some fraction of that, but keeping more in the urban areas.
well, we can discuss it and then they have to vote on it. I don't
Well,
think people.
The point
support it.
tonight, though, is to let the full board understand
Right,
the issues and before the convene meeting, so that I represent the majority opinion, not my own, but the majority opinion on how to handle this. One other thing that does happen too is, and this happens mostly with people that are WMOs and not watershed districts. We haven't had a lot of these over the years, but we did send, I think it was 60, maybe $70,000 to, I wonder if it's up there. There it is. Direct allocation to non-Lower St. Croix watershed partners. So we sent $75,000 to, Emily, do you remember the name of I think it was the Sunrise River WMO that received is that right?
Yep, Sunrise River WMO.
Yeah, thank you. The convene meeting, did allocate $75,000 to that project. They made the presentation in front of the convene group. And so that was set aside. I think there was another 5,000, or maybe it's part of the 75 is the, allocation of 5,000 to, I think it was Columbus to do some, rain gardens, in areas around the city. So, I mean, that's the only ones that I'm aware of.
the other point I was trying to make before is I think that the competitive bid dollars that we've traditionally lived off of is definitely going down each
Oh, yeah.
year. So that's another point for keeping more in the city, because we're losing that.
Mhm.
And it's not being replaced by anything else, so
Right.
we should, I think, use that as an argument to keep
Mhm.
money in the
Right.
city area, so
Okay,
that's the point I wanted to make for the board. so.
okay, good. Any other comments by Manager Baki? Let me start with you.
President Anderson, I totally trust your good judgment on this issue.
Okay, thank you. Manager Taves.
No, I'm just kind of learning the process here, so I'm kind of interested to see how this all turns out. But again, I trust your judgment on that.
Thank you. Manager Shotman, what do you think?
No, I absolutely, I have to rely on you and
Okay.
your expertise on this. It sounds like something that, everybody's got a chunk of people are gonna have to be on board.
Yeah.
I certainly
Yeah, I
could
don't
convince
think-
them one way or the other, so.
Okay, then I'm going to work with you, Mike and Emily and whoever else, maybe Brad, we get in on that too. And work out a couple of situations that we could present, I could present at this meeting.
Yeah, I think we should have a presentation that justifies what we're gonna recommend to
Yeah.
the group. Like how much the competitive bid has been decreasing over time and what the outlook is and this kind of stuff. And
Mhm.
so, because it affects everybody. maybe us more than most.
Well, the background and why.
Right, and what's actually happening and why we wanna do this.
Exactly.
Otherwise, we're just vote to give it away.
Oh, I agree. I mean, and it is a discussion when you go there. You do have to have some background.
I think that
Well-
really, my understanding as well.
Okay. Mike, go ahead.
Madam President, I'm just manager, so. You know, part of it is that's when the committee meets, policy committee, is the setting of the budget and the priorities, so previously, I went through that and it didn't turn out exactly like we had hoped in terms of some of it, but roughly, not quite half of the funds go to shared services across the entire Lower St. Croix, agronomy, education, technical services. Roughly 30% has gone to watershed districts historically to projects, and we've been recipient of one of those.
There we go. Here's the stats.
20,
Mhm.
yeah, so 21 has gone to SWCD, so. And then that 3% has gone to the street shipping, so. They'll probably pull up some of that, so I think it's gonna be, it's not really just a matter of, and from my perspective, as to whether. It gets pooled or not, it's a matter of how they're prioritizing. The work out of the overall Lower St. Croix plan, so, we've made our case about. Using the Pareto principle and sequential diagnostic monitoring and, and again, from a policy standpoint for Bowser, nobody wants to do that, so. We continue to try to work against that. I guess structures that we find inefficient, but I think it's gonna be a little bit of a challenge to argue that it's just, rural versus urban or metro. When the group had previously made a framework that, from the policy committee standpoint, so. So I see both ways, and I guess, again, the half of the allocation should be in, and I will note that. Having looked at this some years ago, that this agronomy position is the only one in the state of Minnesota that's focused within a one watershed plan, which is at the heart of most of the problems across the state when it comes to water quality. So we certainly want to continue to support that effort as a model for other one watershed, one plans. So,
Or at the cusp of where urban is encroaching on the rural, which is what our district has,
mhm.
and the problems that can be created if you don't get ahead of it.
I think,
Yeah, I do think, to answer the question about dividing it evenly, that's the second to the last one. So if we take the amount divided by 15 partners, it would be 137,000 per partner. I think you asked that question, Manager Schmalz. So that's what it would be on an even distribution. And that would be healthy for us, obviously, as a watershed district, thinking just about ourselves, that would certainly be welcomed. Okay, well, I think we've maybe talked about this enough, and I have an idea of the board's obviously position. And I would like to work with, like I said, Mike and Emily, particularly you are still going to those staff-led meetings, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah, because that insight, I think, is going to be very happy, and maybe you would like to share that with the board too, is what your, feeling is on how that works. And how is that internal processing structure working?
Sure, I could share a moment, Madam Chair, managers. So I covered this process in the program update that we posted in the December board packet. So give that YouTube video another watch and kind of goes through it, because it is kind of a complicated process that we've built for ourselves. From, this is just the start with the convene meeting and pooling versus non-pooling. And then there is a number of steps that all the partners need to go through and quite a lot of eligibility requirements that need to be met in order for a partner to get that funding. And the item that I had just showed is that the Comfort Lake Forest Lake Watershed District has gone through that process a number of times and has received almost 400,000 in grant funds over the years from this. And that was from pooling the dollars and having it go through that process. And I'll just note too, maybe I should pull up just that image again. Oh, I don't have it. You know, just for context, the non-pooled amount or just the non-metro amount of this next biennium's allocation is roughly equal to the shared services staff that they have hired. So we've got the educator, Barbara, we've got the agronomist, Ellen, and then they just recently hired a part-time engineering tech. The person is hired, I can't remember their name, but just keeping those positions would pretty much take up all of the non-metro dollars. And so if the metro decided not to pool with the non-metro, the partnership could basically afford to keep those shared services and basically nothing more. So that's just something to consider in terms of, you know, these dollar amounts we're talking about.
Well, there's more to that though, too, is that they still have the SWCDs who would service those rural projects through grant writing, and they're experts at that. I mean, that's how they live. And historically, for 75 years on grant dollars. So there's ways to get those program dollars. And if some other entity is handling the bulk of the operations costs, then the state money that goes to that operations unit for, or excuse me, area for that particular soil and water conservation district, I mean, I think they still can function. So I didn't want to leave an impression that, you know, they're going to be so underfunded that they can't do work. And that's not true. They can still continue to do the work.
Okay, I think we've
Yeah. All right.
talked about this.
All right. Very good. Thank you, Emily. Appreciate that. All right. So next item F under new business is the section 125 premium only plan. I don't know what that means, but Mike?
Madam President, managers, so Brad has been instrumental in helping prepare this, but district recently noticed that I received an email about this requirement. It's an IRS requirement related to the fact that we offer a high deductible health insurance plan, HSA. And so by IRS rule, the employer is required to have this resolution on file and update it annually. Like certain other requirements, we've asked around and most watershed districts are never heard of it and don't have it, but nonetheless, we Brad had contacted our auditor and they had to look it up themselves. They said, yep, you're required to have it. So here it is.
Yeah, is there a motion?
Well, does this change anything? What is this?
No, it just said basically that I suppose that the employer is acknowledging that they have and that the employees can receive a high deductible HSA plan and this court and accordingly then be able to set up an account because you're not allowed to have an HSA account unless your employer you qualified.
I still get a lot of revenue here from 3M. I've been retired for 22 years, reminding me that my medical doesn't qualify, it has to be a different thing and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
So anyway, so none of our people are participating in that then obviously, right? HSA?
That our staff?
Yeah,
A number.
well, they are.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
that's what we offer for those that, there's at least three of us that are not on it, the rest are,
So we're just adopting a resolution saying that we do it.
that we have the plan, we offer the
Okay.
plan, and then it's on file. We don't have to send it anywhere. But it just.
We already offered the plan, we're just now authorizing it.
Documenting
Acknowledging
it,
it,
yeah,
okay.
for IRS, if the IRS was to contact
Yeah.
us
Okay,
and ask. You know.
Yeah.
do you have your document?
Well, it probably more so, I perceive this to be, if there's anyone that, if there's any reason IRS would question an employee and their contributions.
Sure, okay.
You know, so.
Well, yeah, we had this at my company and, you know, a number of people, single people in particular, really liked it. So they were on, family people didn't, because it takes money out of their disposable income area, so they typically didn't do it, but it's a good thing. We had to do this too. So it's been around for a while.
Okay.
Okay, is there a motion then to approve formally meeting the requirements of the what is it, 501? Whatever it was, the number. 125, thank you, section 125.
I'll move to approve the 2026 section 125 premium only plan resolution and adoption agreement as stated in the attached certificate of resolution dated 2026 document and adoption agreement 2026 document.
I can second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
President Anderson,
Aye.
Manager Baki,
Aye.
Manager Schmaltz,
Aye.
Manager Taves,
Aye.
Manager Schottenheimer.
Aye.
Motion's carried unanimously. Thank you. Let's move on to G, Tim's Marina.
And president, managers, district staff was notified earlier in the week here. About an EAW that the city has posted.
EAW, please, before we get too far into that.
Let's see.
Environmental assessment worksheet.
Oh, okay. Yes,
I was making sure I had it. And it's open for review. Council had also taken note of it in the through an agency that publishes such notices in the EQB, Environmental Quality Board. And I think that the reason that particularly wanted to have some discussion on it is to how much of the review we want to have, but also to discuss the role of the district with respect to the matter related to docks and associated parking. So we will have until, I think it was the February 5th to submit comments to the city related to the matter. So we will have another board meeting. So
Does this have anything to do with the district getting involved, or is this just to review the information that has come out of that EW environmental assessment document?
well, I think it's well, one, I guess it's really a matter of I can distribute this to the full board. So maybe it's not necessary until such time that staff and legal counsel review it. And then, but also to give some guidance or direction as to whether or how much time we would want to have UR review and be involved with such a review, but they really have the district has a limited role in the request overall. And I can't remember, is Mike Sander here? Yes, he's here. So one is that I know that because this had been discussed for some number of months, that he had been out on site to look at, what potential they had some questions, and so, providing some service to the individual, went to look at it. So,
Well, I think the EAW is cut and dry, so I mean, we shouldn't waste any time on that already. That's already been decided, so it's approved, really, basically. So, the only thought I have is that this is kind of like, the Lake Association is concerned about how this is going to impact the recreational value and the water quality of the lake. Obviously, if you have too many people on the lake, it could be an issue. So I don't know that we want to get involved in the politics of, getting this thing voted down or up, because we're not politically involved in it. But I think we have an obligation to the Lake Association to provide as much information that might help them make their case for why this is a detrimental to the lake.
Well, and I think that we do have a role to play in that, and it's not cooked, it's not final, it's not a final bake when this comes out. This is the comment period for the public. So our role, I think, on anything that deals with lakes or rivers in our district, sometimes wetlands too, to have our technical experts read this and comment on it, because there can be things that are missed by the people creating this document. And so it's up to us to make sure that we are protecting the waters that are owned by all of the people in our area and throughout Minnesota. So I do think it's important. It's not going to hurt to send that document to
Nope.
each board member, so that ones that have never seen one can see what it's all about.
Right.
And I think that's always helpful. And getting our engineers involved in it, I think, is the right step. The next step is to review it and give their comments, and then those are submitted back to the state, and I'm sure that there's more public discussion after that too.
Well, then also, I think it'd be helpful, you'll see that the Lake Association has put together quite a bit of technical information from as many sources as they could find. Be good for our staff to review that, and as well as ER reviewing that, and see if they can suggest any other thoughts or angles that should be included or
Absolutely,
adapted.
yeah.
And then that would be pretty much it, I think.
Public comment, yeah.
So then the Lake Association would have to take it forward, and, but the plan is to have the membership vote on it to show that a significant part of the community doesn't want this to go through.
Mhm.
So, again, we don't want to be part of that. We want to just provide the information so that technically it's well represented. So that's kind of the thought I have, Mike, but I'm open to other thoughts, so.
no, I think so. It's a matter of, again, guiding whatever comments we have or feedback. I know I see that just perusing the document, there is some acknowledgement of, some minor stormwater impact, but there's acknowledgement of, the one dock is located in a area that's dominated by emergent vegetation, so a fair amount, or not almost all of that, would need to be removed for boats to get in and out of those slips. And the city does have a comment asking about what types of aquatic vegetation is present in the vicinity, and so we would probably want to support that question to the DNR, so from the management side. So there are probably some things that we could support, but I think in terms of our overall role, it'd be fairly limited. There may be safety concerns about access and things like that, traffic amount. But that again wouldn't necessarily be the role of the district. I think there is a question about, the proposed parking, it's a low-lying area, the water condition is high. How stable would, the shoreline be and such? When you're maybe only have a foot differential between the ground elevation and the high water conditions. Those ground is saturated, so is the road, does it need to, again, another, not our lane, but is fire and
Well, it depends on how the slope of the road is created,
right,
toward the lake or not toward the lake. So, but, and you mentioned stormwater. There might be some stormwater issues as well, but that's why the engineers should do it.
So you're saying they may have to have some kind of special shoreline protection to help offset the fact that there's only a 1 or 2 foot difference between the land and the top of the water?
well, that's a lot of parking immediately adjacent between the
Right.
existing roadway and then the lake, but again, that's shoreline zoning piece that probably, because right now, from our perspective, like I said, that would probably have to be a discussion with council, whether or not putting a car over an area or some number of vehicles over an area that's currently pervious, such as grass, whether that has any impact. So,
Well, that sounds like something we need to be involved with, to me, and our engineers in particular. That can't be something we as a organization bring up without the okay and the review of the engineers.
mhm.
Because that sounds like a area for future trouble.
And President Mike Sandiger has a hand raised.
Okay. Go ahead, Mike.
Managers of the board, I would like to just include that there isn't currently a budget for having EOR review it. We don't have an active permit at this time. Some of these concerns could be addressed if they trigger our rules, but if our rules were not triggered, we wouldn't have a time to review them, but I'd just like to have the board consider that.
Thank you, Mike.
Well, all right. We have to be practical on all of this stuff, and the way that our budget was approved for the coming year with the savings that were identified because of the stretching out of the payments on our
Well,
the loans, though, they're from the pollution control agency. That's what I was trying to spit out there, but we've gained, I don't remember exact numbers here, but we've gained about 80,000, I think.
60.
60, okay, so 60,000, that's a considerable amount. And so that would go into reserve, and so we have that amount that hasn't been budgeted for anything. So I don't think that we can afford to not do the right thing. And the right thing to me is to make sure that we are looking at this at the stage when it's easiest to change the plan and put in the protections that we need to protect the water body. And that's all I have to say on that matter. If there's silence, any response? I'd like to hear from our attorney, maybe first. Maybe we're talking the wrong thing here. Chuck?
Madam Chair, managers, you certainly have every right to review the EAW and to bring the district's technical resources to bear. From a very quick review and brief communication with Mike, as I think Mike Kinney indicated, that it's not clear that the district has specific regulatory authority over the structures, potentially over parking increase and so forth, if that's part of the proposal. If we don't have regulatory authority, then basically our authority is we don't have authority. We have the ability to make our resources available to help get to the best outcome. So the board can apply its resources as it thinks would fit that purpose.
Will there eventually be an application that will end up in our laps or no?
That's going to depend on whether additional parking is required or not. So it's unknown at this time. It's probably dependent on the outcome of the EAW if they'll have to submit a permit.
Yeah, Manager Schottmuller, more specifically, the district doesn't regulate docking structures. And it doesn't regulate dredging in the lake if there would be any of that.
Okay,
That's still the Army Corps, right? That does the dredging?
And the DNR.
Okay.
But you know, you're getting more and more people involved with water agitation through motors and these special boats that they have right now. They call them the
wakeboard.
wakeboard, yeah. So that's
Yeah.
becoming a big science right now. So
Mhm.
this is kind of a minor view of that, although multiplied by 70 or 80 boat locations. So I think that's what the Lake Association is looking at. And so any input we have on that they haven't considered might be helpful to them also. Yeah, it's kind of like Eurasian water milfoil. You know, it doesn't really affect water quality directly like curly because it dies off when it's not important. But on the other hand, it restricts the usability of the water from a recreational aspect. And so when we talk about water quality, we've always thought of water quality in the broader terms of wider recreational, including recreational value of fish and wildlife, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's what we want to always keep in mind. So
For sure.
so that's why they're trying to work that angle on it, because the EAW is not going to stop anybody from what we can tell. So there's got to be another argument put forth that makes some kind of science sense. And so anything that we can offer in that respect can't be a lot of work on their part, but you know, they probably have more experience than we do about this area. So if they have some other thoughts or other references that they might want to have the Lake Association review, it would be helpful. That's the only point. I don't think it's gonna take a lot of time.
No, but I wouldn't dismiss the importance of comments on the EAW
No.
either, and that has to come from our engineers. We listed at least 4 areas that are suspicious on whether or not they're gonna harm the lake or not. So the engineers need to be involved in that. Look at the key restaurant parking lot, for example. In the beginning, years ago, when that area was being developed, there wasn't enough on-site area to put stormwater ponds on site. It would be draining directly into a tributary to the Sunrise River. And that was negotiated by the administrator at the time with the developers. And Key did the right thing. They put in a pervious parking lot that they maintain. They've got someone that comes out and picks up the cigarette butts that people just dump out of their car and into that paved area. So the right things can happen when the engineers get involved and suggestions are made for a better way to do something. So don't not do that, in my opinion. They need to be involved.
Okay, so I think we're agreeing that we're gonna get involved with this to a certain extent. My only suggestion would be that we do it sooner rather than later, because they've got a timeline, they've got to mail this out to the members, et cetera, what their argument's gonna be, and then have them vote on it, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't think we want to wait till the last minute, but if you get ER to take a look at it, and if there's a big issue here from ER, then we should know about it. It should come back to the board, but, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
otherwise, it should be, you should send them what they've already put together so they can see what the gist has been so far. You got a copy of that, right, Mike? I sent that to you.
The Lake Association?
Yeah,
They've sent it already to us, right?
I sent it to Mike.
To Mike,
This
okay.
morning.
Should we,
Can you send it to all of us?
Well, you know, what's that?
Well,
Well, you can't send stuff around, so Mike can send it to
You can
everybody.
send it around.
I can send it.
you don't have to.
I copied you on it.
should we limit the amount of time that can be spent on it though?
No,
I don't think so.
I think topics need the time that they need. And if you try to rein it in, and not talk about it, we get into trouble. So,
I get it, except
Yeah.
we're not legally authorized to do anything but advise on it.
yeah,
And they're not giving us any money. So I just feel like,
but we have the money.
Well, they give us money, it's taxpayers' money.
We have.
But we're
we
representing,
can't talk about having money after we just raised the budget.
Yeah.
A bunch because we didn't have the money.
Right.
So
Mhm.
we have to be consistent with our messaging. And be careful. And I'm a little nervous that we're gonna talk about spending time and effort on something that doesn't actually sit in front of us, that we have no authority on. So somehow, unless we do, do we get authority somehow?
We have the authority to influence the outcome of this.
To whom?
to the water,
To the project, no,
No,
to the state.
who are we influencing? The state?
the Lake Association, giving them information
The
to
Lake-
fight the battle for us that we
Okay.
can't fight. This happens all the time.
I'm not trying to
Yeah,
be anything
Yeah.
but understand the current situation. So I didn't want,
I'm not,
I feel bad that you're huffing on me.
I'm not huffing,
Okay, it's just,
I'm not huffing.
okay,
I
all right,
like it
great.
when people ask questions for clarity.
I just want to understand
I
what we're
love
doing.
it. What I was just going to say, maybe I had done that, I was
Okay.
opening my mouth, getting ready to say, Chuck, can you describe how the EAW process works in projects like this?
Remembering.
That was Chuck.
$400 an
Can you
hour.
hear me?
Listen, that's
So listen to Chuck.
right.
Yes.
Well, probably more than ERR is gonna spend.
Well, there
Well,
again,
I'm sorry, I wasn't sure if you were addressing that to me, but
Yeah,
the EAW is an initial assessment of the potential environmental impacts of a proposal. And either it's mandatory because of certain thresholds that are in the law, or the city could decide to require it on its own. And it's an initial review by which the city then determines whether it will require a full-blown environmental impact statement, which is like an EAW, but just a lot larger and more effort. So basically, it's an advisory document. The marina folks need to prepare it, and the city will assemble it and put it out, and did assemble it and has put it out for comment. So basically, the comments now would be about, are there impacts of concern? And are they sufficiently serious that the city should require an environmental impact statement? And then once the city gets all the comments, then it makes a decision. And I would guess it's almost certain that the city will decide, no, we don't need a full-blown EIS. That is a pretty expensive and longer process. So from that point of view, it's just the city getting an advisory document, and it doesn't have any substantive force, except that it can be useful to raise issues that the city or the DNR would bring to bear in its regulatory work, or that it would just raise issues that interested parties can use to discuss the proposal and how it, voluntarily might be modified to be a better proposal.
okay, so it's basically the DNR and the city have the authority in this right now. Right?
Well, principally the city, the DNR may or may not.
Okay,
It depends if there's going to be disturbance of the lake bed and the nature of the dock facility. If it's temporary, they put it in and take it out and so forth. It'll have to meet some criteria under DNR rules, but the DNR won't really get involved in a long permitting process.
Okay, thank you. Manager Baki had his hand up.
Manager Baki?
Oh, yes, President Anderson, I think it's helpful for the watershed district to provide an opinion through our engineers on this project. And as we work to develop a good relationship with the Forest Lake Association, certainly we should play our role out as providing an expert opinion on a project such as this. I do believe that is our role, so I support your opinion on this.
Thank you. Manager Taves?
I just need more information to understand what this is about.
Okay. All right, well, you're gonna send that
Already did,
okay,
just got it.
okay, good. All right, so everybody's going to receive this document. You can take a look at it. As far as proceeding with the engineers, we want to do that quicker rather than sooner rather than later. So is there any objection to continuing with that action? Hearing none, then we are instructing the staff to go forward with working with EOR and the appropriate engineer to review this EAW.
Plus the fact, I think it would be wise to have our engineering people look at the concept of so many boats per acre. That seems to be the criteria right now, where there's some kind of guidance or some rules of thumb that can be violated. So I think any input they have on that would be quite helpful too, as long as the disturbances, but you think about it, there's 900 properties on the lake, right? So now you got 900 boats, right? Fine. So now you've got one property, and a property is 50 to 100 foot long. So now you've got maybe 300 foot of shoreline with hundreds of boats. So instead of having one boat for 50 or 100 foot, now you've got a boat every 3 feet for that property. And now you've got the boat club down here, so that's another 35 boats. So if you keep adding, marinas, pretty soon you can walk across the lake on boats. So I mean, somebody's got to provide some regulation somewhere along the line, otherwise it's going to get out of control. And that's all the Lake Association is trying to say. So if ERR has any experience in this, it would be very helpful from that perspective to make it available to the Lake Association so they can follow up. So that's the only argument that I see that's going to hold any water from what I've read so far. Okay.
Anybody object to adding that to the request for EOR? Okay, then do we need to make a motion on this, or can we do consensus? Chuck, that's for you.
Madam Chair, the only question is, I think Mike Sandiger may have suggested that there's not a source of funds. I don't know if there's a need for a board action or transfer in that regard.
Mike has authority to spend up to $20,000.
Yeah.
So I think, we can't go over every little thing that comes up. If we have a big problem or we really get in trouble again, then we need to take care of it. But otherwise, I think this is adaptive management. This is not the first thing we're gonna see. It's not, we haven't planned for.
I was gonna say that.
And it's only 7 days into the year.
I think Mike was talking about from a work plan
Right.
perspective, and that can never be 100% when you start it. You're doing it the year before, and you're just starting in January. So I think I've identified that we do have some funds that are going to be available. So, yes, Mike.
Madam President, Manager, Mr. Sandiger was referring to the fact that we don't have any revenue from the site. So in terms of permit revenue,
Right.
So given the fact that there's been no request or no identified need for a permit yet at this time, depending on, again, the city's requirements. The one thing that, it's separate from this, but there's been an aggregation of impacts around Forest Lake in particular that I've started a conversation with the University of Minnesota St. Anthony Falls research staff about the impact on freshwater lakes related to really the thermal impact. And it's actually an item that I saw in this. It was in the EAW. There's a comment on it, but you start more driveways, more everything. When it rains, that retains that heat, and then that runoff is warmer entering into the water body. So we've seen, some pretty remarkable temperatures in May early on, increases, and I think it has a lot to do with how much stormwater is running into the lake after it's kind of falling onto an area that's been artificial. It's artificial, right? It's not natural, so
Yeah.
it warms up, and so I think that's a separate. We don't have the data right now. There is some information out there, but in terms of this location, we would have to try to pull something together. But I think it's another area that, from a scientific standpoint, as Manager Schmaltz had noted, I think it's an area of concern as well. But it's really lake wide, and it's a concern we could relate to the city.
Well, I don't think he's asking for any reports to be created. It's whether or not that information is available to the engineers and making whatever's available on that issue available to us. Okay. So, again, we have consensus to proceed without action, so I don't think we need to burden ourselves with a motion unless Chuck says we have to. Do you say we have to, Chuck?
No, Madam Chair.
Thank you. All right, let's move along to the next item, which is old business. A is Bone Lake South property, short-term management.
And president and managers, after last month's board meeting, council has informed me that there's a need for the board to consider the short-term management of this property. One, with respect to a recommendation related to keeping it off limits or have limited access to it. So I've laid this out in a memo. I apologize for it just being out early this morning and waiting for confirmation. Kelly Ty was from DNR that was actually that they would find it acceptable, and just making sure all the language there. So we're just proposing then that we would put up some signs similar to the one that's depicted, and because right now there's no safe parking, and the other piece is that there's no fence to keep the public out of private property since we divided parcels.
Okay, I'll move to authorize the district administrator on advice of council to limit access to the Bone Lake South property until such time that property fencing is installed and restoration work is complete, and otherwise to adopt the administrator's recommendation for interim property management.
I will second that motion.
Thank you, Manager Baki. Is there any further discussion?
Yes, Madam President.
Yes, go ahead.
I emailed Mr. Kinney regarding contacting the Bone Lake Association and posting this information via the Facebook page, so the Bone Lake community is aware of this before the sign goes up. I think if the sign goes up without any forewarning, there might be just some ill feelings about that, because when you look at the sign, not that the sign is rude or anything, but I just think just some forethought and massaging this topic before we post the sign would be useful. Also, has the City of Scandia, the Parks and Rec Committee, been contacted regarding plans for the property?
We've been in touch with the city on an ongoing basis. We have quarterly meetings with them. So with the Parks and Rec Committee itself, I don't know if we've done a presentation. But we could certainly do something along that line. You know, as well as to the Wall Lake Association, again, probably during the spring meeting.
I think that's a good idea in that the Parks and Rec Committee would be a wonderful partner as far as, you know, planning the hiking trails and having public access to the property.
Yeah, I think Manager Bocky's idea is well, is a good idea because a little ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? So if they know what's coming,
Oh, yeah,
it's gonna be much easier for everyone, so.
so all projects that we like that, honestly. There's one thing, is any other questions or comments from board members? Okay, I have one. I was at a recent meeting. Aiden, are you still here with us? No? Okay. I was at a TAC meeting and Aiden was describing the project for the CAC. And the question of hunting on this property came up. And there was an understanding by some that, you know, that's something that, because it was DNR grants that helped pay for this, that we had to allow, or sand, you know,
Start saying
yeah, we'll start SAM money, that we had to allow that to be accessible for people. And I just want that verified. That doesn't sound safe to me, but if you could verify that.
And President Managers, I'll let Blaine confirm this, but yes, so that's been the practice and a condition of the funds. Unless there was some, for example, City of Forest Lake doesn't allow that, so.
On ordinance, you mean?
Correct.
Okay,
You know, so.
there's another property on or near, you know, our land, our new land, and so I just think that would be problems, but anyway, look into it so that we have a definitive answer on what that is, what the requirement is.
Jared will put together a management plan.
Okay,
We've started on it, so we will take into full consideration and document all those.
okay. Sounds good. Are we ready to leave number A? Any further last words? No? Okay,
Madam Chair, we need a vote on the motion.
oh yes, a vote on the motion. Roll call.
President Anderson,
Aye.
Manager Baki,
Aye.
Manager Schmaltz,
Aye.
Manager Tatus,
Aye.
Manager Schottenmiller.
Aye.
Thank you. Passes unanimously. Thank you. Next item is for B, Rule 9, revision resolution.
And President Managers might stand and do a service.
Okay.
Do that and take any questions.
All right,
Madam President, members of the board, when we did the rule revision, we passed the new fee schedule with a motion, but it requires a resolution. So we're requesting a new vote based on a resolution. And that is required by our rules.
all right. The motion is in front of us. Who wants to make it? All right, I will.
Okay, go ahead.
Manager Anderson moves to adopt rule, or excuse me, resolution 26-01-01. Amending, oh, take that little thing on the bottom out, thank you. Amending the permit fee schedule. Who's seconding this motion?
I'll second it.
Manager Small seconds. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call.
President Anderson,
Aye.
Manager Baki,
Aye.
Manager Schmaltz,
Aye.
Manager Tatus,
Aye.
Manager Schottenmiller.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes unanimously. Next item is project update.
Madam President, Managers, just a quick update here on some of those, we've see locations of past projects, maybe a little reminder about the steps identified within, each of this. Slide 4 there is the phases, so we'll get into a little comfort the sub watershed. That Iron Hand Sand Filter project that's currently in phase 3, there's a design phase, underway. Green infrastructure for this is another stormwater project that the district is investigating for Comfort Lake. That is in phase 2. Woody Lake Ag BMP, that implementation has been completed there, phase 4. And as just discussed, the Bone Lake South nature area restoration, we're just beginning that process, and we have some ability to use some of the monies received in phase 1 request for that property, not to be confused with the phases of the project itself. But there are some funds that we can use for fencing and doing some other work. We've been, Emily's been coordinating with the DNR staff to confirm guidance on what we can do and cannot do with those monies, but we're looking to do a number of things on the project or the property prior to the end of June and close out of those grant dollars. So, and then we're expecting that the council just yesterday had a meeting, Sam's out to Heritage Council, to finalize the language of the bill that the legislature will review, and then if approved, and typically it is as written, we would then be eligible to use it the day after the other one closes, July 1st, so on the restoration part. And roughly currently that's about 86% funded, so we're able to do most of the work that we want to get done.
Nice.
So. And then Aiden has been working diligently on the School Lake Ag BMP areas. We've gotten some of the projects that we've wanted done. There's still one main item, and we discussed that just today, and we will set a timeline as to working with one particular landowner. We've identified another site that we could potentially use that money for. It'd have to be a request to Bowser, but feel that pretty confident that we'd be able to do that. So.
Any questions for Mike on any of these?
President Anderson?
Yes, Manager Baki, proceed.
Mike, if you go back to the slide on the Bone Lake South Nature Area Restoration, I think there may be an error in the 2026. General property rehabilitation to be undertaken in 2026. I don't think any of us will be around in that year.
Oh, 2026.
Well, I don't think, what?
Right.
I'd like to see this done this year.
Yeah, be worried, Dave.
Yeah, I know. I had a lot of big pause there.
Thank you. We'll update that and repost that online, so.
It's worthy of a laugh. That's good. Okay, is that it?
Yes, unless there's the Fountain of Youth out there on the Bone Lake South property. That's.
Okay. Thank you.
I was gonna go out there, but there's gonna be a sign posted that says I can't, so what am I gonna
Yeah.
do?
Better hurry.
Yeah, you got a couple of days. Well, we could always do a tour with the board as well, so.
Number 6, report of managers. Manager Smalls,
Nothing report.
okay, Manager Baki,
Nothing to report.
okay, Manager Taves,
Nothing here.
Manager Schipmiller.
Nothing here.
Okay, I just have one thing. I need to talk with Emily and Mike S. about a couple of things, again, with the Lower St. Croix. So I'm just asking for board permission to do that. Shouldn't take more than an hour. All right, thank you. Oh, the other question, I'm sorry, I do have one more. The announcement of Shallow Pond, that hasn't taken place formally, right? And we're still in that preliminary checking it all out stage. But when are we going to make that announcement? Or when can we?
July 1st.
Really? Okay.
We are, 'cause right now it's under the, it would qualify for our Greenbelt initiative.
Mhm.
And right now, we would need to hire the EOR, legal counsel and such for the transfer. They would like to do a quick claim deed, but it's really not something that, as a public entity, we could do. We would have to make sure we go through the typical process as outlined in the watershed management plan.
Mhm.
And so, but right now, as well, one of the things that is to include that 56 acres or whatever it is within the overall goals that we have set out for phase 1 of the green belt. So
Mhm.
we would,
So some alterations to our 10-year plan have to be made? Is that what you're saying?
no, just that for the green belt initiative, the funding doesn't come in until July 1st.
I see.
So then we can use that to initiate the work get a grant funded or
All that
for all the work
that has to be
DOR and
verified, okay.
legal counsel and
So only July 1st. I will try not to in my enthusiasm talk to anybody in the Comfort Lake District that wants to know. I know nothing.
Yeah, the city, of course, is, they had first opportunity and they support
Oh, yeah.
where it's going, and we're also just having some conversation about keeping that trail open and
Mhm.
stuff like that for the community.
Sure. All right. Well, that is it for me. So is there a Mike, anything else from anyone before we close? No?
Madam Chair,
All right. Yes.
Board for summary.
board direction.
Oh, yes. Go ahead.
So, this is what I have. Staff will provide the managers with the Forest Lake materials on Tim's Marina to complement the EAW. And staff and EOR will review those as well as the EAW. And provide appropriate comments and advise the board of any issues. Then with respect to Bone Lake South property, staff will be in touch with or properly connect with Scandia Parks and Rec as well as the Bone Lake Association with respect to the interim property management and the posting. And Mr. Kinney will look further into how hunting is to be accommodated on the property. And that is what I have.
Okay, thank you. Any corrections? All right, hearing none, motion, Administrator Kenny, excuse me.
My president managers, just that, that we had received, Mike Sandiger had taken the initiative to look at the, materials from the city. There was they're proposing to redevelop this area. The entire block or so be opposite of to the other side. And that information.
Down to this downtown area.
Correct,
where
right.
live.
We have not received a permit,
Mhm.
but it's, a notice went out on the 2nd and they discussed it and the city approved it, so, I just took note of the fact that, I know Jared Grinder was very involved with that redevelopment discussion, some years ago. So he must not be aware of that either from the Lake Association perspective, but, cause I talked to him at length this morning and he didn't mention it, so. So anyway, just letting the board know that that'll be something that'll be coming forth. And I guess we'll just see what it looks like, but we should be able to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, let's hope so.
And I had been playing from the very beginning, but it somehow got derailed.
Yeah, it's a very different, and I think from a land use perspective in, city, development standpoint, this is talking about a hotel, some businesses. Some.
On the block across the street,
Yep, so.
we're not gonna take the condos out.
No, it's just that area, it's gonna be included, I think some of the other
There's
stuff.
not much room there.
Yes, but I mean, there's like those
Small
cobblestone inns they're small, you know, those are some relatively small. Hotels, but, so, I mean, if that's one, for example, but I think it. Versus just being townhouses, that what they're now talking about will do a lot more for downtown. So.
Interesting.
But we'll have to still address all the stormwater issues and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
B and Bs I can see. Is there any other business before the board? Right, if not, a motion to adjourn is in order.
I'll move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Any conversation about that? We can't. Go
Yeah,
ahead, roll
it's
call.
not debatable.
That's right. It's not-
President Anderson,
Aye.
Manager Baki,
Aye.
Manager Schmaltz,
Aye.
Manager Case,
Aye.
Manager Schottenheimer.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
So may all the meetings this year go this smoothly.
Hey, they did that last year too.
Yeah.
We
Keep your streak.
we were never over time. One time, I think.
We're not
One time.
I wasn't trying to
When
make
you
this
were-
go